I've always been envious of my colleagues in band. They have an infrastructure for their students that we don't seem to have in orchestra, or at least not that I know of. They have all these camps and opportunities that I think that are really valuable, like section leader camps and drum major camps, but they all seem to be quasi-centered around marching band, and there's nothing like that I know of for orchestra, but even with those, somebody had to start them, right? The curriculum didn't just appear out of thin air, so somebody had to be the one to get it going. And so what I've tried to do over the course of the past 20 years is steal as much content from them as possible and implement them from orchestras. And I've sort of evolved this, and it's become pretty comprehensive. And so what you're about to see are conversations with some of my seniors who graduated last semester and have gone through my leadership trainings. Here's what they have to say about the topic of communication.
I think bad communication can come in several ways. I think the crux of good communication is honesty and clarity. And I think when we lose either of those two things, we can have bad communication.
People feel like they've wasted their time, whether it's to come to a sectional that didn't happen or to show up for something else that was moved to a different date. Mm-hmm. They feel like they're just out of the loop and just not connected with people. It's oh, who did they tell? They told someone else, but they didn't tell everybody. It disrupts the connection.
There can be good intentions in that too. Maybe we don't want to hurt their feelings, hurt someone's feelings. And so we can communicate dishonesty, or we can communicate hesitantly. But I think in the grand scheme of things, that actually hurts a relationship or hurts objectives, because when we communicate honestly and when we communicate with clarity, it's not only a sign of respect for the other person. It's I want you to know what I'm thinking. I want to communicate my ideas clearly.
No, yeah, 100%. I feel like they would also feel they would feel lost, and I feel that's not good, especially for freshmen and underclassmen that are or someone that just entered varsity or something like that. It's very crucial to have communication, or else everyone they'll feel lost, they'll feel unimportant, and they'll just feel bad about it, and again they'll feel they wasted their time.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not exactly clear with what you want them to do, you have a good chance of having them do something entirely different.
Exactly.
And say you're talking a bunch of people, say, hey, we need to show up at this time, but you're not clear on the time. You have 10 people going different times or different places, and that can really slow down productivity. And if you're not honest with them, saying, oh, let's do this. Say you're trying to BS your way and trying to tell them how to do something. Yeah, it might work the first few times, but once they start saying, oh, this isn't really true, not only do you lose that ability to be honest with them because they don't trust you, but you also lose clarity, because now they're looking at you is that really what he wants us to do? Uh-huh. And so being honest and being clear helps you be able to be efficient in your communication, helps you efficiently always say what you want them to say and have them do it.
When you want something from your section, or when you want to encourage them to do something, maybe, guys, I need you to practice this section tonight because it didn't go well in rehearsal. You need to be able to communicate that clearly in love, but still you can't like you said, half wishy-washy communicate that, because then you run the risk of them not thinking you're serious about it, but also them just not understanding what you want your section to do. And I think that's something that I've learned throughout this year.
Being more exact and being more clear why they need to do this helps a lot more. And also, with honesty, being able to be able to say, okay, I don't completely we need to talk about this as a group to understand how to fix something. It's also helpful. I know, for example, I was a peer science leader. Being able to be willing to say, hey, I don't understand it completely, helps them trust you as a leader, saying that he knows how to actually lead it. Because you say oh, yeah, this is how you do it, when you don't know how to do it. When they find out you know how to do it, they'll be why do we listen to this guy? He doesn't know what he's talking about. But being able to say, hey, I don't understand this. How about we work together, guys, to fix this problem? It makes them be more willing to trust you and actually listen to your advice.
There's GroupMe, which that's a lifeline for a lot of people.
Yeah, we use that a lot.
Yeah, that one's that's used really frequently. Also, Remind is used, but I feel like not everyone's on the Remind. But I feel like that gets things out quickly.
Yeah.
I feel like people could definitely communicate that out.
Yeah, like
Schoology as well.
yeah, we usually use GroupMe for like just the section, each section,
Yeah.
and like maybe some other groups too.
Yeah, but I feel like it's mostly
Yeah, like Remind and Schoology, that's good for like mass
sending out, but more for sections.
for like everybody.
GroupMe, because Remind is for parents and students. So it's like concert times, call times go out on there. Like fundraising things like the profit shares go out on there. Like
Yeah, and I feel like that's been good. Like my experience with that, it's like I don't have to like scroll through
a whole bunch of stuff,
like,
you know, because I feel like it would be
because Remind is more like to the point,
right. And I feel like it would be kind of not silly, but like I feel like people would get lost if we started sending out like section
right?
varsity viola sectional today.
Yeah, because
that wouldn't
you
be
say
for
one
everybody
thing for sectionals, and sometimes it might get changed. Or,
right,
like, people
but that's
say
what the
it can't
GroupMe
be
is
done.
for.
Yeah.
Even within technology, there's like different modes and like styles of communication. You could FaceTime someone, you could call them, you could text them, you could like Snapchat them, you could Instagram DM them. Like there's so many different platforms where you can communicate. I think it's important to understand that these platforms all convey a certain level of seriousness in your communication. For example, if I'm like in communication with like a colleague that I'm working on like a project on, I'm not gonna like text them the project details on Snapchat. Like I'm not gonna snap them like we have a meeting, this then. I'm not gonna send them the Zoom link through Snapchat, right? It's gonna be like through email or through or I'm gonna call them or I'm gonna text them, right?
Yeah.
So there's like, it's important as a leader, especially just to know what type of message you're conveying, and then that will inform the modality of communication that you want to use.
Yeah. I'll say for me, our section leader, we use different modalities like face-to-face. A lot of time we had sections that we couldn't do because, we had morning practice here. And so something we did was like we used videos. We made private chats with Christine and me, and we had like, hey, work on measures 25 to 40 of this thing. Record yourself doing it. Show us your left hand, show your right hand, and then send us the video. And then we will look at it and be like, we're going to text you back or we're going to come to you during your free time and go say, hey, let's talk about that recording you gave us. And so being able to use more than just like per face-to-face recording gives students a chance to like individualize their practice. Have them say, hey, can you help me with this part? Like, okay, sure. Show me a recording of it real fast. Show me what you're doing so I can tell you, what you should probably should fix about it.
This group chat is for important things.
Yeah.
We don't want it to get lost in the silly things. So like we mostly kept it like professional and like, hey, I need y'all to do this. They'd be like, okay, we'll do that. And like we wouldn't like add anything. And so like, and I remember we even like have them be like, we're not losing info and it's not getting crazy.
Right. Yeah, I think my section sometimes had some problems with that because people would like spam or just do random things.
Yeah.
But we kind of had to tell them to not do that. And maybe that's where a little bit of like animosity grew. But like, I think we got over it.
Yeah.
I feel like not being afraid to say, hey, I saw this little issue in class. We need to talk about this measure here is something that you need to be willing to do as a section leader. Because you might think like, maybe it's me. Maybe I didn't understand this phrasing here, or maybe I didn't understand this fingering here because someone else did it this way, but I know he's better than me. Don't think that in your section leader. Be willing to say, hey, what about this section here? We make sure we do this phrasing here. Because being able to talk about those issues, maybe you're wrong. Maybe maybe the phrasing was like that. Or maybe like they didn't realize that. It'd be like, I didn't know we're supposed to go from piano to forte in less than 2 beats here. Maybe you say, I didn't see that for Sondel. Thank you very much. But being a leader section not only about being the best player, but also being the best kind of person who can communicate it, who can mentor someone and be able to teach it. Mm-hmm. So be willing as a section leader to go stick yourself out there. Say, hey, let's talk about this section here. Let's make sure we're doing this right. Because you might be wrong, but a lot of time you're probably going to be right there. You're going to be like, they'll be like, I didn't see that. I didn't notice that we had to do this. Or like, I didn't see this fingering option that's a lot better than going from first position to third position, but it's staying in third position the whole time and just switching strings. So be willing to go out there and actually say your opinion. Don't be afraid to say, it might be wrong. It's because I'm not the best player. Be willing to say, here's my opinion on the idea as a section leader.
Sometimes, like, based on week, like, testing weeks or, like, just, like, crazy hectic weeks for people, just make sure that you're clear about when sectionals are and where they are, because I feel like there's so many sections that are having sectionals, and like they'll go to like the ensemble room, the violas aren't there. They'll go to like the orchestra hall, like the violas aren't there. Like they'll go to this one, they're not there because like some days we just have everyone in here doing sectionals. So just make sure you're clear about when and where, and just make sure that you do like a poll at the beginning of the year and be like, which times work for everyone mostly every week, and then like tell them that like it's okay if you can't make it, but communicate it to me and we will figure out an alternate time. Just make sure that you're being very clear.
As a section leader, it's really your job not just to lead, but to be able to connect with those people that may be older than you, and be able to recognize maybe where they need help. And maybe that's hard because these are people that you look up to, but it's, as a section leader, it's important to see ways in which you can help people grow.
If you don't have a section leader program at your school, or if you're looking for some resources, I'm selling an 8-week leadership course on teachingorchestra.com that I've done in Canva. And I like Canva because it has some cool animations and stuff, but if you need me to convert it to PDF, where you can upload it into something like Google Slides, I could also give it to you in an SVG format, so you could use it on a web browser. But to get all the cool formatting, I recommend Canva. And look, I'm not a greedy person, and if your district won't buy it for you and you just don't want to pay out of pocket, please send me an email at teachingorchestra@gmail.com, and I'll send it to you for free. And the same goes for any product on my website. If you want it and your district won't pay for it, just send me an email and I'll hook you up. Okay, thanks for watching. Consider sharing this content with others, and I'll see you in the next video.
That's communication.
That's communication.
Right there. Okay. That's a positive thing.
I know. That kind of was a
She would always do it to me in
Yeah.
orchestra.